There have been some strong women in the One Piece story, from characters like Tashigi, who was a pretty decent swordsman early on in the One Piece story, to, of course, legendary Straw Hat Nika Robin with her crazy Delphin ability. Like we saw when she was teaming up with Crocodile, to even now when she's a Straw Hat Pirate against Black Berea, another strong woman. Then, of course, we can also talk about the Marine that was the counterpart female version of Smoker, which was Hina early on during Alabasta, with that crazy ability that she used against characters like Bon Clay and others. And I do gotta say this, we can also go to the Conqueror's Haki user Boa Hancock of Amazon Lily, who I think has the potential to be the strongest woman of all time because she has that Conqueror's Haki that could leak into Conqueror's Haki coding. Now I do want to say this, there's also that she's a former warlord, so Boa Hancock has a lot of good things going for her, and a crazy overpowered ability that even Blackbeard was trying to take away. Now I do must say, the most prominent female vice admiral during Marineford War to me was Suru, proving she's not washed because she's old, but she does a lot of washing with her Delphin ability. And I do gotta say this, after the time skip, we've seen some pretty OP females, like of course the ancient weapon Poseidon, especially after Vegapunk's message, yo, Shirahoshi definitely is one of the strongest females, she just doesn't know it yet. Now of course we can also go to Punk Hazard, and we saw the Logia Snow Delphin ability, which was not utilized the best by Monet, but it's still an OP Delphin ability. And then of course you can go to even Dressrosa with Sugar. Her Delphin ability is just scary, guys. It's one of the most scariest Delphins I've ever seen when it comes to, you don't even remember the people you love and cherish. If she touches them, it turns into a toy. And then, of course, we also have during Zoro, the Mink Su Long Carrot, who even had to clash with Zoro early on. And I was like, whoa, this Mink is crazy. And then you have the top young commander during Whole Cake and Smoothie, crazy high bounty, just decently strong, but just we haven't really seen Smoothie go crazy, which I'm still hoping for us to see. And of course, then we also have our captain, who was technically the strongest woman in the One Piece story, even stronger than Boa Hancock and Big Mom. We saw what she did on Wano and Whole Cake Island, yo, she was a beast. Now, of course, now we're on Egghead Island, and there are some legends in this arc. We got characters like Stussy, who of course is part of CP0, who's doing major damage there. Of course, we also have, like, when I say major damage, I mean like that Kaku Awakening, Lucci Awakening, Sneak Attack she was able to do was crazy. Then, of course, we also have the Vice Admiral Bluegrass, who was controlling the Pacifistas. To, of course, also the Vice Admiral Doll, who had Kashi all like knocked out in this recent chapter. And then, of course, speaking of the last two Vice Admirals, they got humbled by, in my opinion, could be the strongest woman of all time, and that's Julie Bonney. And it's not earned, guys. It's because of Delphin ability. Yes, he's trained in Delphin ability, but still, this Delphin ability is so overpowered. It's funny because it was actually said to be trashed by Saturn, but she's low diffing Vice Admirals like it's with ease, turning them to kids. And now she's literally Yonko level alongside Luffy. Yes, Joy Girl is here and the hype is real. So let's do a deep dive on chapter 1118 and how important this chapter is, guys. It is definitely gonna divide the fan base too, so we'll talk about that too. So if you haven't been knowing what we're talking about, it's the end of the chapter. This chapter was a very short chapter, only 13 pages, but in the end of the chapter we see the epic color spread, or not color spread, epic spread, where we see Bonney, and she's talking about how she's finally free alongside Luffy, and both of them are in Nika forms. Luffy, we've seen it before. Bonney, we haven't. So it's like, what is going on? And of course we see a moment of Kuma and the promise to his girl Ginny, or Guinea, whatever you want to call her, to raise Bonney. And well, that's definitely how you raise someone, to be Yonko level. It is insane that she's actually using Luffy's power, and the Gorosei start panicking, and people are like, there's two albino giants, because we all know Gear 5th has that white form, and even the Iron Giant wakes up because of this. So at the end of the chapter, so I'm just telling you guys right now, like, we might even get a final piece of Vegapunk's message alongside Bonney and Luffy doing damage to, of course, the Gorosei. Now I do want to say this, we did see Luffy use Nika against the Gorosei and didn't do much, so Bonney and Luffy together, I'm hoping that could do something. But yeah, I thought that was a crazy way to end the chapter. Before I move on and talk about other things in this chapter, people are going to ask me in the comment section, so I'll answer. Do I think this is trash, or do I think this is goated? I'm going to keep it real, guys. If you guys know my channel and have been following for over nearly a decade and making the videos on One Piece, this is, you know, I'm not going to call this trash, guys. Like, this is the theme of One Piece. Like, when Gear 5th is doing Looney Tunes stuff, how can I get mad at Bonney using Nika form? And there's a lot of foreshadowing from the beginning of the story all the way, of course, to the end of the Egghead Island arc. So, when I say biggest story, I mean beginning of Bonney's story. There's a lot of foreshadowing of her actually being able to do this, distort the future. even the SBSs and the volumes that Oda's been doing. So I'm not mad about it. I just hope that this is a very short thing. Like, it's not like she's doing it constantly and she's literally Yonko level. I want it to be Yonko level for a little bit, and then that's it. Like, maybe one or two moves, but I don't want her being Nika for like 3 to 4 chapters. I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's a little too far. And if she's Nika for like, she can do it the rest of her time in the story. Bonney is literally one of the strongest fourth generations. Like, she's automatically in top 3 just behind Blackbeard and Luffy. She surpasses Kid and Law to me and Zoro. If she's able to turn into Nika like that, okay, maybe I'm going a little too crazy because she doesn't have her hockey in check like the other first generations. But still, I'm thinking right now, it better be a short term or else it's trash. If it's long term and she's actually just doing this consistently, yeah, I'm gonna say it's trash. But short term, it's pretty cool, it's pretty fun, it's pretty hyped. I was hyped when I saw it, so bring on the joy, girl. Now, of course, Luffy does ask Bonney if she wants to destroy the Gorosei before she transforms, but she says she can't keep up with Luffy. You have to understand, she's a fangirl of Luffy since she's a kid, because of the story she's heard of Nika. Luffy doesn't understand that, but he just goes like, whatever. And then Luffy says she can actually keep up with him because Luffy's thinking about her powers, and she remembers, of course, in the beginning of the arc when Luffy's saying that's when he's the most free, is when he's using gear 5th. So she just does that, and that's what, of course, motivated her and inspired her to do what we saw in that end of the last page, which was crazy stuff. I'm still shocked, guys. I thought it was pretty funny, though, Luffy, when he eats all the food of that giant chef on the pirate ship, and it causes an earthquake, and people are like, yo, Vegapunk is right, the sea levels are rising. Like, the panic that happens in One Piece is so funny sometimes. And then after eating, giving that Nika gear 5th form as Dory and Broggy start dancing instead of putting out the fires. Yo, Nika is always gonna be having fun vibes, even like in the most craziest and desperate situations. Like, that double ability definitely makes everyone smile, dance, and have fun, regardless of how panicked it is. So I love this Dolphin ability. And I gotta talk about it. Sanji noticing Mars. Everybody's been saying that Venus Zero's gonna fight Zoro, Workery's gonna fight Luffy, and Mars is for Sanji because Mars is a flying Gorosei, and Sanji did notice him. And I do want to say this, Luffy is snacking on the giant chef pirate food while Sanji there is even funnier. And then, of course, the giants using their shield try to block a blast breath from Mars. Like, Mars is actually one of the more underrated Goroseis. I never thought Mars would be this strong. Like, Mars, at this point, I might have to put Mars above Saturn, guys. That's how crazy Mars is. Of course, they eventually get smoked out by Mars's blast breath. And Dorian Broggy, like, let's be honest here, like, they're saying in their head, like, they're the captains of this ship, so when their crew members are getting smoked like that, they're like, yo, there's no avoiding these monsters. They're able to fly. And of course, Mars says none of them will be able to escape. So Mars even is confident that he's going to do damage. He doesn't care if it's a Yonko there, 2 legendary giant captains, a worst generation in Bonney, a top commander in Sanji, a strong commander in Frankie. It doesn't matter, yo. Like, this guy Mars says, you guys ain't escaping, yo. The Gorosei confidence is insane. And let's talk about the beginning of the chapter. The chapter starts off with the Iron Giant, which is a very big premise of the end of Egghead, falling into the sea. And I'm wondering where the Iron Giant is wondering where Joy Boy is, because of course Nika is going in and out of it. And it makes me think of 200 years ago. Did somebody awaken the Nika powers of some sort? And who did 200 years ago for the Iron Giant to go crazy and marry Joas? That would be hype. Maybe it has to do with Imu. I'm not too sure. I do want to say this. We see Workery, who I just made a video on it, guys, like yesterday. So he's looking extremely menacing in this chapter, so I think you guys should check out that video. I talk about how hyped that character is and underrated, guys. He's probably the strongest Gorosei, so check out that video. And then, of course, it was pretty interesting when the Gorosei asked York how many Vegapunks are left, and she says there's 2, Atlas and Lilith. And we all know Atlas got smoked by Lucci early on in the beginning of the arc, and Lilith was one of the first Vegapunks to actually interact with Straw Pirates. So the Gorosei are now trying to cut some loose ends and keep York only for their benefit. So they're trying, and it makes me think, damn, like the other Vegapunks, the original Stella, Shaka, like Edison, like these other Vegapunks are smoked out. Most of the guy Vegapunks are smoked out. The girls are only left, so interesting. And I thought it was cool in this chapter, always seeing the reactions of course, Vegapunk's message and what's going on in Egghead Island, seeing Koza again. Koza is a very important character because Alabasta is an important arc, so anybody in that arc is important. And then, of course, we have Rebecca and a Tontada Leo, a Grand Fleet member, He's so gullible. He believes that Luffy actually killed Vegapunk and Rebecca has to snap him out of it. It reminds you how they believed everything Usopp said, so it's really funny too. Obvious cap, but tontadas are gonna tontata. And the final thing I want to talk about when it comes to Luffy on boards the ship of the Giants. I thought that was very cool. I thought Oda would have skipped that, but he actually did give a reaction to that giant ship, because the entire arc, I must admit, guys, I was wondering, how do these Giants fit on that ship? And yeah, Oda gave us a little MTV Cribs ship tour of the giant ship, and where we see Frankie, Sanji, Bonney, and he asked where's Usopp, of course, because Usopp's connected to the Giants and Brave Warrior to see his dream and whatnot. And then, of course, he also asked where Chopper is. Those are his best friends, Usopp and Chopper. And then, of course, we see Vice Admiral Doll and Bluegrass, who are one-shotted by Bonney, which was shocking because, let's be honest here, those Vice Admirals are pretty strong, and Doll had a pretty cool moment last chapter with their hockey. So, just shows you how OP Bonnie's Doubtful ability is. And then, of course, we see Sanji simping for the girls, and they were going to protect them. And Usopp's like, what the hell? Frankie simping over the ship, and Usopp's like, what the hell? Usopp always has the funny reactions. But, yeah, that was the last thing I talked about, the cool dialogue between, of course, characters in the chapter. It's always cool to talk about that. It's not important, but I thought I'll just bring it in the video. So now that I'm ending this video, I do got to admit, before I end this video, I have some big announcements. This channel will be doing a drastic change in editing starting in August. So I need y'all to like the video before then. Like every video I post, you guys have to like it and support it if you do watch the entire video. If you don't, it's up to you guys, but still, I think it helps my channel. And the next thing is turn on notification for a huge video coming tomorrow. I'm working on it for a couple of days now, so it's gonna be really good. And I want to admit to you guys, I'm going daily all the way until August, and that's when the sudden change starts with the editing and quality. And you guys understand, I'll be also adding a podcast to the channel about One Piece. Like, it's the end of the final saga. I'm gonna try to put the best content out for the end for you guys. I did this channel for so many years, I thought might as well start now. But you guys have to support the channel, guys. And September, that's when the podcast will probably drop. So please support the channel, guys. I don't want to ask that too much, but because I don't want to bother you guys, but I think now's the time because I'm going so hard and trying to give you guys better content. You guys support, you guys get better lasagna.